Hi, welcome to, once again, another edition of Zig Zag as we take a look at what's happening on earth and also in heaven as we move through the book of Revelation. It's a different way of looking at the book, and we're breaking it down into some big chunks. And we begin once again on earth. We begin this time on earth with what is one of those events that a lot of people miss, or they don't think about, or they don't know about when it comes to the book of Revelation. It is the Anti-Trinity. In Revelation chapter 12 is where we find this. And it goes through Revelation 12 and carries us all the way through Revelation 13, verse 18. This Anti-Trinity Trinity returns to earth as we watch the formation of a diabolical trio of agents who will unleash a reign of terror that will turn the last half of the tribulation into a period of great tribulation. I've said before, as I've taught the book, the great tribulation is not really great. That's just describing the bigness of how bad it is. You don't want to be a part of that. And yet, there is a trio that emerges, and I'll let you read that for yourself if you're not familiar with it. We've covered it in other times. But this trio, this anti-Trinity, if you will, is set up to mock the way that God works, to mock God himself, and to mock God as unfolding on earth are events that are horrifying, catastrophic, and horrific. And we have that unfolding, and it's scary to look at, and it's tough to look at, and it's painful to look at, and yet once again, as it's happened time and time again, the story zigzags, and we find the counterbalance to what's taking place on earth. In heaven, we see something entirely different. Because in heaven, when we get to Revelation chapter 14, we discover that in heaven, the Lamb is being worshipped. We're taken back and we're transported for the snapshot into heaven as the arrival of the 144,000 faithful witnesses who have escaped the carnage of the earth are now moving into heaven and worshiping the Lamb. The counterbalance, while evil is on the rise and evil seems to be so out of control, we immediately get that relief and that glimpse of looking back into heaven and find out that God is faithful and God once again has done exactly as he promised he would do and gotten his people where they need to be at just the right time. Never late, but always on time. The zig and the zag. I want you to know that for you in your life, for me in my life, and the application of this in a very practical, real way is that there are some days that we try to navigate and we just see the evil going on around us and we think, my goodness, how can this be? And how can I survive in a world where this kind of evilness takes place? And yet in that moment, if we'll allow ourselves to remember the truth of the book and zig and zag just a little bit, we also have to remember that God always gets us where we need to go and he gets us there right on time. And everything that he said is going to be true. The faithfulness that he had to the 144,000, we're reminded of. And we're reminded of it in a very timely way as that counterbalance, the zigzag, if you will, once again in the book of Revelation. But the book's not over yet. And so we're going to take another look at the next zigzag that we can find as you study the book of Revelation, as I study the book of Revelation, and together we zigzag our way through that last book of the Bible. I look forward to joining our next episode.